Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scaling EdTech Innovations in Bangladesh webinar hosted by HundrED and EdTech Hub. My name is Jamie Lee, and I'm the Education Design Specialist at HundrED, and I will be your host for today. So this webinar is the launch of the Spotlight report we conducted in collaboration with EdTech Hub, which is a research project that aimed to look for education innovations working on EdTech in Bangladesh. Today, we'll be joined by the superstar innovators who were selected for this Spotlight project out of over 150 innovations that were submitted. So congratulations to you all. We are really excited to have you here with us today. These innovators are using EdTech in a variety of different ways to support the education system in Bangladesh, including the blended learning strategy, teach professional development, and bridging gaps of access to education. So a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded, so don't worry if you miss any part of it. The recording will be published on our event page a few days after the event. And also, unfortunately, there will be no time for Q&A during the webinar, but feel free to put your questions in the chat so we can have a discussion there. All right, so before I start the panel discussions, I would like to invite Crystal Green, the HundrED Research Director, and Akanshka Bapna from EdTech Hub just to introduce our Spotlight project collaboration briefly.
Thank you, Jamie. And my name is Crystal Green, and I'm the Research Director at HundrED, and I'd like to invite also my colleague Akanshka Bapna to the stage from EdTech Hub. And we wanted to just give you a little bit of background. So it's really been a pleasure for us to collaborate with EdTech Hub on this project. We had the idea, or we're interested in collaborating on this project because we wanted to gain a deeper understanding of how EdTech is shaping the K-12 education landscape in Bangladesh. And I think with EdTech Hub, we also have a shared interest in understanding education innovations from a systems perspective and bringing insight not only into the types of pedagogies that are being used, but also the ways that technology is being leveraged in different ways, and how the actors are networked together within the education ecosystem. And Akanshka, I'd also love to hear from you about your interest and motivation and how this work fits into the larger project that you're doing.
Thanks a lot, Crystal and Jamie. So my name is Akanksha Bapna. I'm a senior fellow with the EdTech Hub. And so this project is part of a portfolio of research projects that the EdTech Hub has undertaken through a large grant from the UK government. And we also have other funders involved, but essentially, we've been doing a lot of work with cross-cutting themes within EdTech around students learning, teachers development, and at the systems level as well. Under the systems work, about a year and a half ago, we were in some meetings with the Bangladesh government, specifically the leadership from A2I, who asked the question, how do we know what has impact and what scales? And I think from that question evolved this entire research study on how to think about the system, the interaction between the public and the private sector, and how as researchers, we can try to understand what's going on. The study is conducted in two parts. So you are here as part of one part of the study, which is the Spotlight on Bangladesh, which is understanding the innovation ecosystem. The other half will hopefully be published early next year, which is understanding the system itself and the interaction with the innovators ecosystem. So that's what we're trying to present here.
Thank you so much, Akanshka. And now I would like to invite my colleague Ariana from the research team, who will be facilitating the panel discussions.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Akanksha. I'm Ariana Vanchuk, and it's been a great experience collaborating with EdTech Hub on the Spotlight. As a research team member focusing on the Spotlight, I had the great opportunity to interview the innovators to get deeper insights into their inspirational journey as an innovator. And today we're happy to have all our selected innovators with us. And we are very thankful that you're joining these panel discussions to share your insights and experiences with our wider audience. So with this note, I would like to now introduce the panelists for our first discussion. Please welcome Zawhar Nusran Bina from Connect A2I, and Zareen Mahmoud Hussain from Cholpuri, Mobin Shikhter from ScienceBee, Ali Ahmed from Matronics, and Pradipto Kumar Saha from HundrED. Please welcome to the panel. Bangladesh has aimed to implement the blended learning strategy to continue its strides to access an education and learning outcomes. Blended learning is described as an educational approach that combines the traditional face-to-face instruction with online learning activities. It seeks to integrate the best of the both methods to enhance the learning experience. So I would like to address the first question to Zawhar, to Bina, and to Zareen. So how do you see your innovation playing a role in the blended learning strategy? Bina, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you everybody presenting here. And this is me, Bina, from HY ICT Division, Bangladesh. So Ariana has already asked me a question about how my initiative is working for the blended education strategy. So we all know that EdTech can play a very crucial role in implementing the blended education in the strategy level. And when it is about Bangladesh, where access to quality education may be limited in certain level or certain areas. So EdTech that can make that happen, or bridging that gap by offering the online materials, online courses, and everything, just to make that appearance for the students so that they can get that access to the education. And when it is about my initiative, that is Connect, which is stand for the Kishore Batayan, and this is working totally for the young learners, adolescents, and we are offering that sort of thing so that according to the need of the new curriculum, you all of know that Bangladesh has introduced a new curriculum, which is very more attentive to the experiential learning. So we are also trying to provide that sort of resources and those scopes for the students so that they can able to meet the goal of the curriculum. And where it is about the EdTech and the blended learning, we are trying to give those resources through our platform as like the educational resources. And along with that, we are trying to give them the skill development resources so that they can able to get everything in one platform. And also according to their academic period, also the global challenge, they can make that happen to get from this platform.
Thanks, Ariana. It was great speaking to you earlier as well. And what my A2I colleague was talking about is, like the new curriculum. So these are, I think, like very exciting times for Bangladesh when we have the government has brought in this new curriculum in certain grades, and over the next few years, it will be rolled out. And the other exciting thing that has happened is that technology has been introduced in classrooms. So at the primary level, like in a majority of the schools, there is one setup for technology. So there's like a projector, a computer, an internet connection. So during this time, then how do you kind of do this blended learning in a setup like that with the new curriculum? So what are the missing pieces? It's we have it's one of the largest school systems, if I talk about the primary, and so a huge number of teachers. How do you train them and take this new curriculum, which focuses on experiential learning, which is kind of different from the rote learning that was happening before. So we align with that strategy in terms of, because we are developing these learning tools based on technology, and we deliver this through our platforms. So the teachers can take it to the classrooms. We train the teachers online and physically, so they can use the materials and run their classrooms like a 45-minute classroom aligned with the national curriculum. So that makes it easier in terms of the materials that they will be using. It engages the students more. And currently, in just to see how this works, we are right now piloting in 56 schools in Dhaka and Chittagong, and operating these blended learning classrooms at the primary level. Thank you.
Thank you, Bina, and thank you, Zareen. Your comments made it very clear that in order for the blended learning policy to be successful, it needs the key elements, the enabling factors and blended learning solutions, and also, like, most importantly, to fully address the learning needs of our children through a thorough understanding of the learner needs, and especially when the country is transforming into the new curriculum. So thank you so much. As online education took over as the new normal during the COVID-19, the governments, schools, teachers, parents, and communities, and the students, everybody looked for the EdTech solutions to optimize and aid teaching, and also to support and engage the learners. Countries turn to the EdTech solution to continue education and reach out to the learners who are otherwise unreachable. So we have seen this remarkable growth in the EdTech sector during these years, but as the world is kind of like settling back to the normality, as we are more familiar with, we're also witnessing the cooling down of the EdTech sector as well. So I want to ask Mobin, what is the magic of providing educational content online? Is this a temporary solution, or is this the future?
Thank you. First of all, I'm Mobin Shikdar, the founder and CEO of ScienceBee, and I'm truly honored to be here and to be selected by the HundrED community. You just said that after COVID, we were settling back to the normality and we're trying to back to the physical education, but I do not think so, because in our platform, we actually we have seen the growth. Like after COVID, we accumulated about 6 lakh students in our platform. But yeah, definitely there are some problems, but I will talk about this topic about later. But the magic of online education is mesmerizing. Like what we started our journey back in 2018. Personally, I have seen that there is a huge gap between lab accessories and the lab facilities between the urban areas and the rural areas. I came from a rural areas, and I have seen that there was no lab facilities in our school. And that is why we had to solely dependent on the memorization. And that is the main burden, and that is the main problem why we cannot be the researcher or the scientist in the near future. I am talking about personally I'm solely dependent on science topic. Sorry for that. And after that, when I came back from rural area and admitted into a college in Dhaka, and literally I was so lucky to have the lab facilities. That is why ScienceBee started to reduce the gap between these two areas. And here the online education comes, and online education is doing extraordinarily great. Like when we provide science education or science topic or the recent innovations and the technological inventions, students are taking that greatly, because there is a problem between our existing education system. Like we are studying the science topic back in 4,000 years ago, like in Einstein or Newtonian era. But science is progressing, technology is progressing. That is why I think we should reduce the gap. And students are students want to join us eagerly to learn more about that. But the main factor is we cannot reduce the problem between the peer-to-peer interaction. We know in physical education there are so many advantages, like peer-to-peer interaction. We can easily share our problems with the teachers. But I think there is a major problem, like in our rural areas, there are not so many expertise in a teacher panel, so students cannot access to the main scientific topics or technological advancement. So that is why we are thinking about the online education. But the problem is, what can I say? The problem is in our online media, we are solely dependent on Facebook. I think the most EdTech platforms in our country are solely dependent on Facebook, but and there are so many distractions because children's or the young people are so many distracted by the entertainment video as well as the educational video. So they do not judge themselves what actually needed to be educated or to be a scientist or a researcher in the near future. So I think it is not a temporary solution. It is a permanent solution, but we have to think about, we have to work all together to create some accumulated solve how we reduce those type of distractions. Like we are creating an app. We don't want to solely dependent on the Facebook. We are creating an app so that students can get their interesting scientific topics and the courses in our platform. And there are not so many distractions. And already in our education systems, government as well as the private EdTech platforms are taking initiatives so that the students from even from the rural areas can join us, and from urban areas they can there are so many teachers, expert teachers, and they can easily connect with those teachers. So I think that is the main issue. We can negotiate with our education system that we should encourage students to take the scientific materials or the technological advancement seriously, so that they can realize the problem and how they could develop their self to be scientist or researcher in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. So you covered like very extensively like the topics that we would also be discussing throughout today. And so in a way, the COVID helped all the education stakeholders to see the benefits of the EdTech solutions, and actually like helped us to embrace the changes that we were kind of like reluctant to accept. And this we've seen that, and then also you're showing that the EdTech solutions can actually like make education, they bring education closer to us. So thank you, Marvin. So in addressing the educational landscape of Bangladesh, our focus was directed towards identifying and bridging the critical gaps that hinder the realization of comprehensive and inclusive learning environment. And our objective was not just about acknowledging the challenges, but actively seeking the innovative approaches to enhance the accessibility, attainment, and continuation in education across the country. So we have seen that EdTech, with its innovative approaches and inclusive methods, is just not transforming classrooms, but it's dismantling the barriers and paving the way for a more joyful, engaging, and accessible future of learning. So my next question is for Alvi and Pradipto. With your innovations, what gaps in Bangladesh education system do you seek to fill? Alvi, do you want to answer first?
Yeah. Hello, everyone, special guests and fellow educators. I'm Alvi Ahmed, co-founder and chief instructor of Matronics. I'm really happy to be here as a part of EdTech Bangladesh event. We're diving into an important question today. What gaps in the Bangladesh education system do I want to fix? Well, when it comes to education, our main aim should be to make sure every student, no matter where they come from, can get good learning chances. One big gap I want to fix is the digital divide. In the age of technology, not all students have the same access to the digital tools. I believe in using technology to bring learning opportunities to all students, no matter their background. Also, it's super important to help students think critically and learn practical skills for the challenges of today. The usual way of just memorizing things doesn't always help students to solve real life problems. I suggest we change a more interactive and practical way of learning where students can think, work together, and use what they learn in real situations. And let's not forget about our teachers. We need to support them with the right training and tools so that they can keep up with the changes in the education. When teachers are well prepared, it's possible to directly help students in their classroom. So after all, in wrapping up, let's all together work to improve in education in Bangladesh by using technology, encouraging critical thinking, and supporting our teachers. We can build education system that helps every student succeed in the fast changing world. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvi. Pradipta?
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today and to talk about the scope of education and how we are transforming, how the education system is transforming to blended learning. So I would be talking about how my innovations basically is aiding the blended learning process and is implementing the visual learning for the students. So I'm the founder of HundrED, and HundrED as a business basically started to solve a specific problem, because when I was a student, I used to face a problem that the education system was mainly theoretical, and even today it persists. Though we are having additions such as the online education and the animation and other things that are being incorporated in our studies, but still most of the contents are theoretical and are classroom based. And when I was a student, I could learn much better through visual learning. And hence, HundrED was founded. Through HundrED, we utilize virtual reality technology so that students would not only read, but with the help of VR headsets, they will be able to virtually experience their education content and learn from them. And I think it has been seen through the work we have done over the last 6 years. We have seen that through visual learning, students retain almost 60% more information, and they are much more engaged to the content and are able to retain them. So as we can see that our education content is still theoretical, and we are trying to incorporate lots of other technologies to make it more experiential, and all my other fellow panelists has also iterated that. So we are using a different approach to that. I think everybody is using a totally different approach to how they can utilize it. And we are using virtual reality technology to do that. And we are at this moment providing VR sessions, creating VR corners in schools so that teachers can teach, and they can, after, for example, somebody has been taught about Mother Teresa's tomb, they can actually virtually see them and learn. And that's a much more engaging way of learning. So that is something we are trying to achieve. We have taken a very different approach to blended learning. Our innovation is developed not to solely serve the students, but to aid the teachers, so that once they have taught something, the students can visualize and see and learn through visual experiences. So that's a road we have taken, and that's something we are working towards. And I feel that visual learning, experiential learning, and engaging learning is very much important. And in terms of Bangladesh, we initially started to cater to the privileged schools, but later, as we were working, we had an opportunity of working with underprivileged schools as well. And like we have seen that for visual learning, there's a huge need for visual learning for underprivileged schools, because they don't have the opportunity to basically experience those things. And till now, we have almost worked with more than 7 NGOs in their schools, and we are working to establish those visual learning experiences and VR corners there as well. So that's how we are working to trying to taking a different road to, I think, the similar problems that we all are trying to address.
And it's really interesting to hear that how the EdTech, the technology blended with our the in-person teaching methods could actually bring the education closer and more make it more accessible to the children, and also providing the tools to support their learning, and while the children are having fun learning. So it is a great tool. Like we have seen that from your innovations, that EdTech can actually like have a very significant role making the learning joyful process. So the teachers play a pivotal role in shaping the minds of the future, and recognizing the importance of supporting them is crucial for fostering a vibrant and effective learning environment. Supporting our passionate and dedicated teachers is becoming more critical than ever. So allow me to introduce the panelists for our next discussion, where we talk and they dive into the discussion of multifaceted dimensions to support that contribute to the success of our educators. So please welcome Anwar Sadat from BYLCX, Azva Naeem from Alakita Teachers, Claire Hedges from the Training in Your Pocket, Simran Mulchandani from Rangit, and Shifatul Islam from Teachers Portal A2I. So professional development opportunities to creating a culture of collaboration and providing effective support is just not an investment in our teachers, but it is an investment into the quality of education and ultimately in the success of our children. So timely, tailor-made supports that address the most urgent needs of the teachers elevate the teaching profession and enhance classroom dynamics, and most importantly, empower educators to continue making a lasting impact on the lives that of the children whom they teach. So let me direct the next question to Anwar and Azva. What kind of support has been shown to the effective for teachers? Anwar?
Good afternoon, everyone. Ariana, the question you have asked here today is a very timely one for our country. On the 16th of this month, we published a survey that we call Youth Matters Survey. We launch this survey every 5 years to provide youth with an opportunity to voice their opinion to policy leaders regarding issue that affects them. So according to a survey, 57% of the participants say teachers' quality enhancement should be the main focus to improve the education system. But first, let's just try to imagine the daily life of a 21st century teacher. Actually, I have seen teachers facing enormous expectations in their activities. An ideal 21st century teacher is expected to be both a subject matter expert and an educator altogether. They're expected to be the leader that guide their student to their learning journey. These students may come with trauma, skill gaps, severe problems like bullying, health issues, or a lack of understanding of SRHR. But are there enough materials available to prepare them for a 21st century classroom? Is it possible for every teacher's training institute to ensure consistency in terms of training quality? Are we able to equip our teachers with the necessary soft skills to communicate effectively with their stakeholder? Are we ensuring them with peer-to-peer learning environment for their professional growth? Most importantly, are they receiving the respect they deserve from the society? We are humbled that we get to provide soft skills training such as communication skills, critical thinking, collaboration, leadership through our platform and Muktopath. It's actually not possible to provide upskilling physical training to teachers and professionals, keeping the same standards in all the centers. But the parts of providing training by a scalable EdTech platform, despite the challenge of online education to teacher, students, or professional, is maintaining the similar standards for every learner. You know, teachers from Rangamati Hill Tracks are asking us to develop more courses about 21st century skills so that they can develop soft skill, recommend them to their students. And also, head teachers are asking us to design soft skill training contextualized to their needs so that they can be more effective in running their schools and communicating effectively with the parents of the students. Moreover, we have been running BYLC signature program, building bridges through leadership training, BBLT, where we have been teaching adaptive leadership for 15 years to Bangladeshi youth and adolescents and children through experiential learning method. Every year, we conduct rigorous faculty development workshop. What's being more effective while training them was focusing on developing our faculty's leadership skill. These skills help build resilience, encourage critical thinking, and develop a growth mindset to learn continuously from students and others. The two most important things, the effective things that work, was peer-to-peer feedback and maintain a rubric that will give them feedback mechanism after every of the BBLG program. So these are all the professional experience I have gathered over the year about things of teachers training. But I have been a teacher and a trainer for 4 years. What inspired me to continue my journey was the glimpse of happiness I saw in my students' eye when I visited a specific class for the second time. Actually, I don't think I can ever exchange, measure, or replace that glimpse of joy or respect in their eyes with anything in the world. So dear participants of the webinar, let's give teachers all the respect that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Anabar.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. So I'm running an organization called Alukito Foundation, and Alukito Teachers falls under it. So Alukito Teachers, Alukito means enlightened, enlightened teachers. It's a data-driven, tech-enabled teacher development platform, and it has largely stemmed from the belief that if you don't have a strong supply of well-equipped teachers, nothing else in the education system can work. And this is the words of Professor Linda Darling-Hammond. And so, like, in my experience of working with teachers, what I found to be most effective is the fact that, when we're dealing with teachers, they're adults. And when it comes to adults, one of the principles of adult learning is the learning itself has to be very relevant to them. Of course, there are some people who just enjoy the process of learning, but mostly adults are far more engaged with learning when they see that it has direct relevance with their job or some kind of purpose that they are pursuing. So our teacher professional development, or the journey of a teacher, starts by need assessment, where we try to identify the different teaching challenges that they're facing, and based on those challenges, we match them with courses, workshops, and so on. So beginning the journey with assessing their needs and matching them with learning resources has proven to be very effective. The second thing is we have a blended approach, which is we have synchronous, asynchronous, we have online courses, we then have online workshops and in-person workshops. I feel like this blended approach makes it very convenient and accessible for teachers across Bangladesh to take up these learning opportunities. And then when I, like, the third thing would be within these areas of engagement, say, for instance, in a workshop, we know that teacher motivation globally is a big concern now. So I think when we are engaging with the teachers during these workshops, providing them with a safe space where they can share their experiences, learn from each other's experiences, because when it comes to adults, professionals, they come with, huge wealth of experiences. So just providing that space for them to share and learn from each other's experiences has shown to increase their motivation level. And also what I found to be very effective is providing teachers with real world, highly contextual approaches. So having a school where we experiment with teaching learning approaches allows us to then borrow some of the tips and tricks and strategies and then share it with teachers, which they can apply it in their classroom. So a lot of the times teachers would come to these workshops to bag as many strategies as they can and apply it in their classrooms. And then I think a lot of the times after the workshops, after these courses, when they're learning these, it's theoretical, but then when they go into their classrooms, a lot of things can happen. There are a lot of uncertainties. So we provide blended coaching to these teachers to kind of handhold them, to guide them when they're going into their classrooms, to translate the learning into practices. And we also help teachers to track their progress using data. So I think, for example, a teacher would say that there are 4 students in my class who are disrupting the class for 60% of the time. And I would like to bring that down to 10% within 2 months. So being able to put a number to that and track it helps teachers see their performance, their progress. So I think using this comprehensive approach across like 150 schools and over 1,600 teachers, we've seen an improvement of 70 to 80% in the teaching quality.
This is inspirational. Thank you, Azwa. So I once read that teaching leads to learning when teacher is professionally, pedagogically, and mentally and emotionally ready to teach. And those skills need continuous polishing in order to stay like on top of everything. So it's inspirational to hear how those the innovations are actually using the EdTech solutions to scale their impacts on the teachers. So and as we navigate the landscape of the 21st century education, it's very essential to recognize the impact of digital learning materials that can have on the teaching profession. These materials can encompass the wide area of resources, and from interactive platforms to multimedia content, and that are shaping kind of like in a way the teaching, in a way that teachers engage with their students. Embracing the digital learning materials isn't just about adopting technology, it's about equipping educators with the powerful resources that enhance their ability to inspire, educate, and prepare the next generation, our children, for the challenges and opportunities that are that lie ahead of us, and which are said to be volatile, complex, and ambiguous, and also very uncertain. So I would like to direct the next question to Claire and Simran and talk a little more about how can access to digital teaching materials be beneficial for the teachers. Claire, would you like to start?
Thank you, HundrED, and thank you, everyone. We believe that digital materials like the training in your pocket can enable teachers to see the possibilities of strengthening classroom practice on their phones in the palm of their hands. It's about getting the highest quality resources direct to teachers and respecting teachers as professionals. And these digital materials are for the teacher's own professional development. And so 3 benefits. The first is teachers can see new classroom activities and techniques. If you're going to make a change, you need access to new ideas. And if that idea is a new classroom practice or activity, what's crucial is being able to see and hear how this might work in a classroom like yours. What does the activity actually look like in practice? What are the learners doing? What are you doing as a teacher? Starting to get a sense of small changes that can make a difference to learning and joyful learning over time. And digital materials open up the possibilities to do this at scale. And in the trainer in the pocket, teachers use authentic videos to improve their teaching, perhaps of a specific subject or stage of learning. And in them, they see teachers like themselves, their classroom, their learners. And they're not some magical, perfect lessons. They show something that worked for that particular teacher in that moment with their learners. And the narrator points to what the teacher's doing the video perhaps differently and how this could impact on learning. And crucially, the narrator supports noticing and reflection by teachers. And the idea is that teacher will think, well, I could do that, or if I change that, maybe that would work better for my learners. As I said, these digital resources are directly in the hands of teachers, tens of thousands of teachers, and no longer are teachers dependent on cascades, someone else telling them, when there's a danger that messages get diluted or lost in transmission. I think a second benefit is teachers have time to try things out, as these resources are with them all the time. So they have them on their mobile phones with you anywhere, anytime. So you've seen this new outdoor activity and you think, I now want to try this out with my learners in my classroom. So it's a form of professional experimentation. And I think we all know trying new things takes time, to try different ways, to build confidence, to see how your learners respond. And you can go back to the digital materials time and time again. What were the learners doing? What was the learning purpose of that activity? Oh, and there was that helpful prompt the narrator gave. Oh, wonder what that was. You can go back and look again. And the third benefit is that teachers have something to talk about. And trying new activities takes courage. You're not doing it on your own, but with your learners in a public setting. Talking and collaborating with other teachers in your school or other schools is crucial. You can gain emotional support, guidance, challenge. And the digital materials are with you, so you can sit down together, look at the video, talk and discuss. And we think this turns traditional training and support models sort of upside down and inside out. So your head teacher comes and looks at the videos with you and your colleagues. The head teachers has access to these same materials themselves, but also some materials to help them facilitate in-school teacher professional development. The education officers who come and visit your school and come to your classrooms, they have access to these materials, but they also have additional materials that help them in their role to support head teachers and teachers. So attention becomes focused on teachers, learners, and the new activity, and the support then builds out from there. So to conclude, I think the benefits can be that teachers get tools, they get time, they get team. And so we think, and we've seen, that using their own phones on offline, digital materials such as these videos can guide teachers to improve children's learning, their joyful learning experiences and their learning outcomes at mass scale. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
So good afternoon. I'm going to start with a sort of story from my life. I did my K-12 education in a top private school from Mumbai in India. I was a very good student and I loved school. What I didn't realize was that my school only catered to those who fit a particular mold, and education inequity and a blindness towards learner variability was all too common, even in my privileged school. Later in life, when I taught at a public school in Mumbai, I got thinking about how schools aren't serving all learners and that school needs to be personalized to suit all learner needs. My co-founder, Karishma, spent much of her school years pretending she couldn't read the blackboard when called upon to ask questions in a math class because she was so afraid of the subject. Another school friend only realized in his 40s that he is an exceptional photographer and artist. 20 years after leaving school and being filled with the greatest self-doubt for all those years. The world has changed in recent times, but education in most places hasn't. Education is serving the needs of 25 years ago. How's this going to impact the employability of children as technologies like artificial intelligence dislocate job markets? Each child has their own unique skills and talents, but education isn't serving everyone, and that's resulting in so much lost potential. So I'm Simran Mulchandani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of HundrED. HundrED is a digital platform for authoring, delivering, and measuring the impact of teaching materials for schools, communities, and families. Our platform features our proprietary social, emotional, and ecological knowledge, or SEEK curriculum and resources. SEEK uses active, playful teaching methods based on the latest in international learning science that states children learn best through play or active pedagogies. It prepares children for the challenges of the future by measurably developing a breadth of skills, well-being agency, and global stewardship in children aged 7 to 16. I want to thank EdTech Hub and HundrED.org for the honor of including us in this spotlight. Bangladesh holds a very, very special place in our hearts at Rangeet because this is where our story began. So to my mind, the following is where digital teaching materials can be beneficial for both teachers and students. Number one, customized material that address learner variability and appropriate age-rated materials. At Rangeet, we rate and tag or index all our materials. Hence, Rangeet can be used extremely flexibly. It can be taught as a curriculum spanning 3 years or as a toolkit in all classrooms for all subjects and all learners. What this means is we tag lessons and activities on the basis of any dimension. For example, a problem that a particular activity helps children solve, a future skill that the activity helps students acquire, mapping to a mainstream subject, mapping to an SDG or an age rating. What this does is it allows teachers to customize lessons for their class. So for example, if a teacher wants to teach one of the SDGs or a skill like communication, but wants to simultaneously teach children about, say, pollution in an EVS class, they can use the tag and search function to achieve this. Digitizing puts the power back in the teacher's hands. Teachers know their students best. And if even for 10 minutes a day, every student feels valued, appreciated, and included, the impact of this is staggering. Think about the impact on students' well-being, confidence, and self-esteem. How's that going to impact their academic performance and job readiness? Number two, the power of constant monitoring and adapting through iterative feedback. When we first brought Rangeet to Bangladesh, we simply translated our materials from English into Bangla. We used a local translator in Dhaka to deal with language nuance. In one of our modules that deals with discrimination, we have a stanza in a song that we've created that talks about a child from a Muslim family who's being discriminated against by a Hindu family. Additionally, our teachers are drawn in t-shirts and jeans, which didn't sit well with some. Iterative feedback that we collect through our app from every classroom highlighted these problems, and we were able to quickly pivot and adapt. The idea is that monitoring allows for more effective teaching and more adaptability to different contexts. And the third point, teachers are overburdened and classes are under-resourced. Teachers are being given so much admin work. According to Andreas Schleicher of the OECD, this is the major cause of teacher burnout. This is a problem we're trying to solve by giving easy access materials, customized for learners and monitored adaptably and effectively. Our hope is that this system and method will help reduce teacher burnout and bring back the joy of teaching. After all, this is the noblest of all professions and is the most under-resourced and underappreciated. In summary, our focus has to be to use technology to empower teachers so that students are more emotionally present in their classrooms, more confident, communicative, and appreciated. This is the scaffolding that's required to improve learning outcomes, and we achieve this through a mix of well-researched curriculum based on the latest in international learning science and a digital platform that puts teachers first. Thank you.
Thank you, Simran. That's very inspirational. So, like when you were when Claire and you were talking, like I kept imagining this like huge teacher lounge where the teachers were kind of like coming in and going and getting together to share their ideas and new experiences, new initiatives and innovative approaches, and collaborating to support and help each other. And EdTech is bringing that possibility of having this virtual teacher lounge where they're kind of getting together and then helping each other out. And also as Simran, you mentioned that the teaching is rewarding but highly demanding profession, and teacher burnout is the one crisis, the challenge that we're all encountering all throughout the world. And therefore, the well-being of educators is critical than ever, because we need to address those issues, the well-being, the emotional, physical, and mental well-being of the teachers to ensure the success of the educational system. With those innovators, the EdTech is seen not just a tool for a classroom, but also or for the learners, but it's a valuable ally in promoting the work balance and reducing the stress and ultimately contributing to the overall wellness of our teachers. So from time-saving innovations to personalized professional development, EdTech is reshaping the landscape of education and making a positive impact on teachers. So let me ask the next question from Shefatul. How can we use EdTech to support the teacher well-being?
Thank you so much, Ariana. Good to see you everyone again, and my heartfelt congratulations to all innovators here. And also thanks to HundrED.org, special thanks because you bring all these stories here in front of us. So I'm here to talk about like teachers portal, but in support with Ariana's question about teachers well-being. This is very important. So in our core of when we design our programs with the teachers, with the education, mostly all this program from the government used to support teachers, providing training, providing incentives, some sort of thing. But the well-being is not solely depend on the support provided by the government. This is a huge thing. It requires lots of things like the environment they work, the society they live, the way they earn, lots of different things. But what we do usually from our platform, we have seen that the recognition of the teachers about their work, about their passion, about their willingness to work in an innovative way is more important. So we usually and this is absolutely a success for us that the teachers' recognition over the years was really helped teachers to come out of the box. So what we have seen that if we provide some sort of recognition to teachers, they can celebrate this recognition, and absolutely this actually change the landscape of teachers' innovation, the engagement with the government work, and engagement in the classroom also. So we have seen that teachers are able to create content, teachers able to provide training also to the peers, teachers were able to everything. They're like superstar in the school. So parents, students, all depends on the teachers with their professionalism. But if we care about their professionalism, if we recognize their effort, and we can celebrate this recognition in a national forum, then teachers are more motivated. At least they can say our effort was like recognized by the people, by the government, by the other people. So we have seen this kind of recognition and motivation really helps teachers to embrace this profession, and this helps to improve the well-being of the teachers. So Ariana, if I can answer your question, so I'll talk to you later about the teachers portal activities hopefully that works.
Shefatul, thank you. So thank you for the panelists for sharing your experiences and innovations about how about your continuous and inspirational efforts to help the teachers to be pedagogically, professionally, and emotionally ready to teach, and through optimal and efficient utilization of EdTech. From remote learning initiatives to personalized educational experiences, technology is proving to be a powerful equalizer in providing access and quality of education to all, irrespective of geographical, economic, and societal boundaries. And I would like to invite you all to our final and third panel discussion. And I would like to welcome our panelists, Corvi Rashand from Digital School Program, Suresazaya Zaman from BRAC Play Labs, Muzamil Patel from Elan, and John Littleton from Connection Beyond Camps. So limited access to resources create a formidable obstacles to accessing, attaining, and continuing a quality education. However, those challenges also called for inspiring narrative of innovations and adaptability, recognizing the potential of EdTech and deploying it as a lever of change represents deliberate and strategic actions guided by technology and that have proven effective in navigating the complexities of the resource constraint, the context. So I would like to ask Corvi, given that you work in the low resource context, what are the key levers of change in your innovation?
Thank you, Ariana. First of all, congratulations to everyone. And at the same time, big thanks to HundrED.org for collecting all these amazing stories and highlighting them. First, we need to understand what were we trying to solve. We were trying to democratize education, education for all and quality education. So when we went outside Dhaka and we set up the schools, we realized that the most important part in a school is missing, and that is the qualified teachers or the trained teachers. And we actually tried to give more money so that teachers shift in those areas, but we realized that it's not just about money, it's beyond that. And that is when we took the advantage, or you can say the word lever here is the technology. So using internet connection, exactly how we are talking today, and people might be in different parts of the world. So our teachers sit in Dhaka, and we were able to connect teachers, schools in the most remote parts of Bangladesh. So one good thing was that given the geographical location, even if it's hard, a qualified teacher, not only in Dhaka, it can be anywhere in the world, can connect to a school in the most remote parts of Bangladesh, or again, anywhere in the world. That's one. But the beauty of that was that when we were connecting with the schools, there are also teachers in those parts who usually don't get trained. And the way we were training is on the job training, you can say. So for example, the main teacher is teaching from Dhaka, and then the local teacher is continuously seeing how they are teaching, what sort of technique they're using. At the same time, we were able to train the local teachers to create contents on a local level. So contextualizing on a local level helps the students to understand, and they started creating contents on their own. I think this was another part. And we also took the advantage of connecting local people there. So the community, even the government, because we were running the government curriculum, so we cannot change the curriculum a lot. So I think these were some of the leverage that we took to make sure that we can take quality education in the most remote parts of Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the teacher shortage, both quantitatively and qualitatively, is a global problem and crisis that we're dealing with. And utilizing the EdTech to bring the teacher training to the most remote and probably and also the marginalized areas is very essential, so that these children can get a high quality education. And that also kind of like leads to the next question. So the digital divide often tags the EdTech innovations along as a challenge. So whenever we talk about the education technology, there's an issue of digital divide. However, there are diverse ways in which EdTech initiatives can enhance access and break down barriers arising from the situations, such as, again, the geographical, gender, and socioeconomic and conflict situations. In this spotlight, we have identified innovations that are offering EdTech solutions not only bridge the gap, but also reach for more inclusive and equitable educational landscape. This reminds us that the power of technology is just not in its sophistication, but in its ability to empower, connect, and uplift. So my next question is to Sueda, Muzamil, and John. How can EdTech be used to bridge the gap of access to education? Siora, if you can start.
It is my pleasure to be here. And before jumping your question to Ariana, just I love to connect and share a few of my experience about the innovation what we are implementing. As you mentioned that BRAC Play Lab we are implementing, and we are implementing this model from 2016 in different contexts. In the community-based play lab, we have government setup. We have not only in South, but we also we have taken it to the East Africa as well. But just I want to highlight here that when the COVID-19 that time is happening, that time it has triggered a bit while we running the program, because all the things are shut down, lockdown. That time we need to get connected with the learners, and that gave us a huge lens to design this online education. I mean the online platform. So BRAC Play Lab, we we adapted as remote learning mechanism through telephone modality, and also in Africa we did it through radio as well. So this is a huge transfer in our model, because it's a long time, almost 2 years. All the learning centers was closed, and that time from design to implement up to the evaluation, all through the steps we followed, following the online platform. That's a huge learning for us to get access and to bring the learners in the education system. As we are working for the young learners, 3 to 5 years, children, they are coming in the learning centers, this type of BRAC Play Lab. And before that time, all our facilitator, all our teachers, or all our, we call them as a play leader, their education level, very low, like 8 gate completion, 5 gate completion in the Rohingya context as well. So we have to train, train all these facilitator. That also happening online. And also we did the survey, we implement that as we are following the, co-created approach with the community people. These were initially a little bit challenges, but we, overcome all those. Finally, we have that model, and it was, nicely, that time it was nicely implemented. So BRAC, the name of this model is BRAC, play lab, the Pashiatsi means beside you. So we need to get connected with the children. We need to decide with the children and with the parents. And this is a 20-minute call with the children and the parents. So through this, modality, we connected with not only the children, their parents as well. This is a unique, model. And another point I want to highlight this, from this learning, we have learned that 3 things actually I want to mention over here. One of our big learning is the total model. When we start from starting point to end point, I mean the evaluation, all the process we can do it online platform. This is one. And the second thing, we we contextualize it. So not only community, we did it in the government setup in Bangladesh, we did in African country, we did it in a very remote area. So as it is the remote learning mechanism, and the using just simple button phone, that is very cost effective. And also using the low technology, all the teaching learning material, preparation, the teachers, their training, and the psychosocial support as well, all the pieces we did. The result we have that we brought all the children in our education system in that S cohort. That is a unique piece. And for that reason, actually, this is not only in the ECD S cohort children. I must say this is applicable in the primary S cohort as well. Secondary, as you have heard, that lot of intervention in Bangladesh happening in the secondary and primary as well, and also tertiary level. It can be possible. And tertiary level, we have the master's program from BRAC University. And during this COVID time, we transferred this education modality in the online platform, and it worked because this master's program for our ECD professionals. But remote learning mechanism worked here very nicely. But after learning, getting learning from this modality, we started blended modality after reopening all the things. So this is a very huge learning for us. So finally, just I want to share that like not only any remote area like the geographical location, or not only any very challenging issues like the socioeconomic background who are suffering from those, but this type of modality is applicable for all the learners. So just I want to conclude my speech with that. Thank you very much, Ariana.
Yes, firstly, thank you to HundrED and EdTech Hub for this opportunity, for giving us this platform through the digital spotlight on Bangladesh. I'm Muzammil Patel. I'm representing Teach the World Foundation. In terms of the role that EdTech has played in filling the gap or bridging the divide, we see that the world is faced with a major education crisis. Out of 8 billion people in the world, 2 billion are currently functionally illiterate. And the scale of the problem in developing countries such as Bangladesh is magnified. When we look at the stats from Bangladesh, there are 4.3 million out-of-school children, according to the latest UNICEF figures. Even those that are in school struggle to maintain that level of quality. According to a recent BRAC study, 58% of fifth graders were not able to comprehend a simple text. And to solve this crisis with traditional means would take a lot of time and resources. And developing countries do not have that kind of time or resources to solve this crisis within a reasonable time frame. To cater to 4.3 million out-of-school children in Bangladesh would mean building 16,000 schools or hiring 131,000 additional teachers. So that translates to building 4 schools a day for the next 10 years. And with developing countries, through the financial problems that they face, it's just not possible. That is why, that is where digital comes in. Digital is basically the engine of change in education that is needed. It is the equivalent of the COVID vaccine for the education crisis. We at Teach the World, we have leveraged the power of digital technology. Our model deploys best-in-class gamified self-learning applications on tablets and Androids. And we've done so in urban slums in Malawi, in refugee camps in Bangladesh, and in the remote Himalayan villages of Pakistan. Through the use of technology, we have been able to not just set up our own community-based digital learning centers, but we have also been able to work with existing schools in enhancing the capacity of their teachers and the quality of learning for their children. The key factors which digital has enabled for us to allow us to scale. Firstly, it is the democratization of learning that it offers. By partnering with gamified self-learning content providers, children are able to become in charge of their own learning journeys. And as Simran and Azwa pointed out earlier, teachers are able to focus on high-level pedagogy, on monitoring the classroom. They can get access to data that will help them become better classroom managers and focus on those things. Secondly, it is the scalability that digital offers. We at Teach the World, when we set up a one-room community-based digital learning center, we are able to do so in less than 2 weeks. And at scale, we are able to teach children at less than $80 per year per child. It also offers great accountability. The self-learning applications that we use allow us access to student engagement data at the individual level, and it allows us macro views as well. So we're not just able to help teachers get better insights on their students, but we're also able to allow principals to become better school leaders. Our community-based digital learning microschools that we set up, we work with communities to get access to learning spaces. We work with telecom providers and infrastructure providers to get access to infrastructure such as solar power. And we hire local women from communities, not as teachers, but as digital learning facilitators. That allows us to upskill them, teach them 21st century skills, which is something which we find in common when we work with existing schools as well. Their teachers initially are apprehensive of using digital, but when they get access to those 21st century skills, when they themselves engage with that gamified e-learning content, they're able to see the benefits of that.
and they're able to become better classroom managers as a result.
Hi, everyone. Last but certainly not least, it's been a privilege to hear about everyone else's innovations and feel very inspired by what you're doing. My name's John Littleton, and I work from an organization called Children on the Edge, which is based in the UK. And together with our local partner, Mukti Cox's Bazaar, we've been working on providing education in Bangladesh since 2009. Of course, Bangladesh is a host to a large migrant and refugee population and has been for many decades, and that draws the interest of quite a few international organizations. But when we began looking at the issue of refugee education in Bangladesh, we also had to recognize that the host communities that were hosting these migrants and refugees were facing steep challenges as well. And so our approach has always been twofold: to provide education to refugees and migrants, while also providing education to the host national communities there in Bangladesh. The beginning of our digital innovation actually began in the refugee camp. As some of you may be aware, among the Rohingya people, the Rohingya language is not a written language, and there's very, very, very high rates of illiteracy, which creates quite a big challenge when you're trying to train teachers and provide education based on textbooks that are in English and Burmese, which are languages scarcely spoken amongst the Rohingya population. So we had this challenge of how do we make meaningful education possible when both students and teachers really struggle to understand the language in their textbooks. And so the digital was the first step towards that. We began providing digital lessons actually back in 2019 in the camps first, using battery-powered projectors and mobile battery-powered projectors. And we teamed up with a group called Light of Hope there in Dhaka to also provide those same services to the students in our host community schools in Cox's Bazaar and in the Chittagong area. Subsequently, after our students began to see their teachers in the videos providing explanation and augmenting the lessons, their first reaction was to ask why they couldn't be in the videos as well. And that was sort of a light bulb moment for us. And so what that led to was the formation of Moja Kids. Moja Kids is a digital platform that's created entirely by the 8,000 or so students in our program in Bangladesh. And what they do is they create digital content to share with students that's distributed across the country and on Bhasanchar Island as well, about every other week at this point. So we've done about 80 Moja Kids videos so far, and they can be skits, they can be opinion pieces, they can be stand-up comedy, they can be child protection awareness videos or hygiene and health awareness videos. They take all kind of shapes and forms. And we're ever trying to expand that to other like-minded organizations working with children that want to express themselves and be heard. So we've actually just begun exchanging videos with a program in Bihar in Northeast India, and also with another program in Cambodia. And we're excited to see what the future holds. But the whole idea is to give the children a platform that they can be able to, like a blank canvas, they can express themselves on and be seen and be heard. And that's been probably the most effective way we found yet to let the children's voice be heard in our programs. So we are continuing with our academic videos as well across all our classrooms in Bangladesh. But in parallel with that, we're also running the Moja Kids digital platform. So I'll drop the website here in the comments or the chat. And if anyone will be interested in learning more about it, feel free to contact me. We're always looking to bring in new stakeholders.
Thank you, our panelists, for sharing their innovations and how they are actually like bringing the education closer to every children. So I think we have time for a Q&A session, and so
so I can bring in some questions. We're running a bit ahead, so we have like 10 minutes. So I'm just bringing in some questions from the chat. One question, which can be for any of the panelists, is that now that you've met through the spotlight and in your professional networks, how do you see yourselves continuing to collaborate with each other on shaping the future of blended EdTech ecosystems? I'm really curious to hear how you plan on working together.
Today we have heard, from our panelists, so many programs are, implementing everyone. But sometimes we need to have some network need to sit together after, some time, because maybe someone is working in some area and we need that component as well, so that we don't need to, redesign again. That is, available in the other part. So this type of collaboration connection will be helpful for each other. So that can be, can be happen. Over to you.
So that though we are trying to make an umbrella platform for the students, so we're planning to adjust the related platform according to our platform, so that this can be an opportunity to build an smart education ecosystem by building an umbrella platform where everybody from our panelists and also related networks can work together to make a sustainable education ecosystem. So I think we can work collaboratively where we can fill the gap that I am not able to make that happen so quickly, so that we can collaboratively work for that. That can be help us to make an ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would Muzamil, do you want to also jump in on this question?
Yes. So again, as everyone pointed out, I think it's the education crisis itself is not something that can be solved by one player. It will take the entire ecosystem to do it. And we see a great mix of content players. We have deployment players such as us. We have those in teacher training. We have those focused on research and analytics. So I think this is a great mix of players that can help fill in those gaps and together come up with innovative solutions for this crisis.
As we explore the potential integration of blended learning and after-school programs, how can we ensure a seamless collaboration between these two educational approaches to maximize the benefits for students? What specific strategies or models have shown success in combining the flexibility of blended learning with the enrichment opportunities provided by after-school programs? I think this is an open question for any innovators, especially those working on after-school programs. Would anyone like to jump in on this one?
One thing around out-of-school programs, and often they're sort of contrasted with school, and as if school is like always a gold standard. But I think also it's about thinking about, particularly for adolescents and young people, what is the best alternative learning pathway, and actually what works for those learners, because I think those learners cannot be expected to adapt their lives to a rigid system, and we have to bring that education to them and show the flexibility. And so we've done quite a lot of work, not in Bangladesh but in Zimbabwe, about actually trying different alternative learning pathways. We know where schools and community learning can work together, but each are valued. And I just think that's a really important perspective, is that actually for some learners, an alternative outside of school may be the most appropriate and can be really high quality. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing. I think Pradeep also has something to say.
I think there's a great need for blended learning. I think there are lots of players working differently in different parts. I think if we all can collaboratively come together, then I think we can create a greater impact. And I think we won't be needing to do things twice. And I think collaboration creates magic. And in terms of after-school programs, I think in NerdED, we have been working with VR education, and after-school programs are equally important sometimes, because there are certain things that we cannot provide in the classroom, which can be very much like incorporated in after-school programs and other programs that can equally be helpful and can accelerate the way students are learning. So I think it's going to be a great scope for every one of us to collaborate here and add to the common goal of providing experiential and more interactive learning for the students all over Bangladesh and elsewhere.
Yes, for sure. And I'm excited to see how these collaborations manifest themselves. I think we have time for one more question. This could be for anyone again. What are the benefits of personalized learning experiences facilitated by EdTech? I think we've talked about this a bit, but we can dive in further about personalized learning through EdTech. Anyone?
I'd say that allowing learners to learn at their own pace, because every student differs in their learning capabilities. Um, Allowing them to learn at their own pace sort of creates equality in the classroom. It facilitates better learning for students, and it also facilitates better classroom management for the teachers as well.
Mentioned nicely, but just want to add one more, points, that is, through this, technology, we can track the, learner, and so that based on their, demand, we can, support them. That's the particularly some special children or some children, they have different learning styles. So that type of support will be easier for them. So with this, facility, over to you.
I think in this EdTech platform, we do not have to think about the first bencher and the last bencher, what we usually thought in our physical education. I think that is the main benefits a student get. They do not just about their past track record. So I think that is the most important benefit a student get from EdTech platforms, that they do not be just about their lackings. I think that can I add here.
Thank you. That's a great perspective. We have Shafaq.
Thank you, Jamie. So the question I'm saying is very, very important. So the experience from COVID, if you can remember, everyone. So what we have seen, a fixed pattern learning to a personalized learning during COVID, because students, when they were out of school or they're in home, so they used to choose their interest or topics as they're learning at home. So what we have experienced through our platforms and in different ways, like we provided national television broadcast, we have provided radio content, we have provided even non-tech content also to the students, some instruction, some assignment. But what we have seen that if some students have the access to technology, technological devices and services, so they have changed their learning pattern entirely. So their interests go beyond our curriculum, in fact. So this is not extracurricular. This is all about personalized learning pattern of the students. What we have seen, and we are providing this kind of support to the students. Like Mubin said, we have seen this rapid interest of the curiosity within the students. They're trying to learn new things, science, technology, even if they're taking psychosocial support from the platform. So this is not only about learning experience, they are taking it as their lifestyle of the learning. So what I'm trying to say that if a tech support is provided to the students, they are very much likely to take it, rather decline it. Some parents may be aware of, or sometimes they're trying to make it difficult for the students to not engage with the tech solutions. But at the end, this support actually in enhancing students' learning experience. So this personalized learning experience definitely students, they are sharing with us frequently that they are in need of different like a solution, different of what we had, like all of us here supporting students or teachers in different ways. So if we can accommodate all these solutions through a different channel to the students, definitely their learning experience will be enhanced. So thank you so much, Jamie, for the question. And I think we all are supporting to increase the personalized learning experience for the students.
Thank you so much for your answer. So I think that brings us to the end of today's webinar. We don't have any more time, but I'd like to just thank everyone for participating. Thanks for all the innovators for participating in the panel discussion, and congratulations again for your selection in the spotlight. And I also like to thank our partners at EdTech Hub for your support. And finally, I'd like to give a special mention to the innovators from Last Mile Learning who have also been selected for the spotlight but couldn't make it today, as they are currently working out in the field and have little connection. So for anyone that might be interested in learning more about the EdTech ecosystem in Bangladesh and these innovations, You can check out our Spotlight report. The link has been sent in the chat. And it's here. This is the report cover. And there you will find out more information about the EdTech in Bangladesh, and also you will be able to read more about the innovators. This webinar has also been recorded, so if you missed any part of it, don't worry, you will find the recording on our event page in a few days. So thank you again for everyone that's participated, and wishing you a great rest of the week. Thank you.